Hey guys, my name is Brian Deegan. I'm one of the co-founders and I'm the CEO of Companion Labs. And what I wanted to do is just take a few minutes and step through new functionality that we just rolled out in the October release called grade groups. So a quick overview here. A lot of times we would have customers where the cost per purchase or the cost per install would vary widely based upon the product that they were selling. Or they could be selling the same product into multiple markets, and the CPA and the return on ad spend would actually differ pretty significantly by region. And so one of the things that we recognized was that when we grade your ad sets, we're looking at the performance of that end event that you're optimizing to. So if you're optimizing to lead or if you're optimizing to purchase, but you're targeting multiple countries where the cost per purchase or the cost per lead can vary significantly. When we would grade those ad sets, what would effectively would happen is that we would blend that performance and we would grade that blended performance. And so although the grading would be helpful, it wouldn't be as accurate as it could be based upon that product or based upon that region. And with grade groups now, what it really allows for you to do is to grade much more accurately, and in turn, it makes the predictive budget recommendations work much better. So what I'm going to do here is just hang out on the live stream a bit. I'm going to step through the functionality a few times so you guys can see how it works. I will say that this is available for premium customers right now. If you are a Companion Labs customer or you're trialing and you think that this really will work well for you and it's what you need, then just let us know and we can make it available to you. The functionality does assume that you have a level of sophistication in your naming conventions for your ad sets and your campaigns, because what we wanted to do was create this in a way where once you configure it, then it just works for your ad account. You're not in a situation where you're having to constantly add ad sets or campaigns to different grade groups. You just set up your configuration and then it just runs and Companion Labs does its thing. So as we're going through here, I will continue to look at the comments as they're coming through. If there's any snags with the audio or video, we are still kind of working through some of the quirks in the new space, but I think we've got it dialed in pretty well now. So with that, let me go into the demonstration. And I'm actually going to use the Companion Labs account, if I can find the share icon here. Let me go to screen 2, share that. And the reason why we're going to Companion Labs is we have had this problem for a while. So 50% of our customers are international. We have customers in Europe, we have customers in Asia, we have customers in South America, and we have customers in North America as well. And for us, when we're running our campaigns for Companion Labs for prospecting, and we're going after new trials, so people to trial for the very first time, which is reflected in this custom conversion step 3 goal, right? So we're looking at for Companion Labs, view the grade guide for all ad sets that are optimizing to this custom conversion goal of what we refer to as step 3. Now let's just ignore this for the time being, because before all of the ad sets, right, regardless if the ad sets were targeting Europe or if they were targeting Asia or if they were targeting India or the US, they would all have the same performance thresholds. It was always the same. So again, it was blended all together. And so with the introduction of grade groups here, you can see that we now have grade guides for all of the different grade groups that we defined. So we've got a grade group for US and Canada, and you can see that our target performance threshold for cost per lead for US and Canada is 60 bucks. If I go to primary markets, you can see that it's 40 bucks. If we go to secondary markets, you can see it's 30 bucks. And then if we go to worldwide, it's 25. And then India, it's 20. So what's nice about this is that for each geo that we've defined, we're now able to establish different performance thresholds for those geos different, or I should say different target performance thresholds for those geos. And then the performance thresholds for the grading reflect each one of those geos as well. So if I have an A in India versus an A in US and Canada versus Europe, the algorithm from Companion Labs is going to treat that A the same way based upon that geo. And again, this works for products too. So if we were to look at this from an e-commerce standpoint, if I'm a bookseller, I may have certain digital downloads and I may have hard copies. The cost per purchase and the return on ad spend for those hard copy books could look radically different than for the digital downloads, right? So to be able to set up the grade groups, I would have two grade groups, one for my hard copy and then one for my digital downloads. And so setting these grade groups up is super simple to do. There's not much. And again, we wanted this to be a one-time thing. So to be able to isolate your grading by geo or by product, you're going to set it up one time. And then assuming that your nomenclature is consistent within your ad account, then the ad sets are just going to flow right into the grade groups. So if you're a premium customer, if you go into settings, you'll see a new option here for grade group management, right? And again, as I mentioned on the front end of the screencast here, this is automatically made available to premium customers. Other customers where they feel like they really need it, we're not making people we don't make people have to upgrade necessarily to premium to get it, but what we don't want to do is confuse a lot of users that they need it when they really don't. And so we'll make it available to folks on demand. Just let us know if you think it's a good fit for you, and then we'll be able to roll that out to your user account. So when I clicked into settings and I went into grade group management, you can see the same grade groups that we were just looking at in the grade guide. So we have US, Canada, India, secondary markets, primary markets, and worldwide. You can see the number of ad sets within each one of those grade groups. And then to the right, you can see the criteria that is being used to define that grade group. So the first one here just says ad set name contains US, Can, and US. US plus Can, then US. So any ad set that has those terms in it will automatically flow into this grade group. So if I click into it here, you can see the criteria that was used to define that. So ad set name does not contain cust, and then ad set name contains US plus Can, and then US. So there are other ad sets within this ad account that have cust in the name. And because of that, if they have cust in the name, US is in cust, and so they're actually flowing in. So it's a really nice way to be able to isolate your grade groups, and isolate your ad sets within your grade groups, and you've got a lot of flexibility with this condition builder to be able to define those conditions that are going to define the groups. So when you're defining conditions, you can say for the grade group, an ad set must match all the conditions or any of the conditions, right? So if it's saying all the conditions, it would be and, any of the conditions would be or. So the other thing that I just wanted to mention too is that you can also define conditions based upon the campaign name, and you can mix this. So you can say campaign name contains XYZ, but ad set name doesn't contain ABC, or whatever it might be. So you can intermix these conditions for both ad set naming, campaign naming within the same condition set for a grade group. So if you wanted to add a new term here, so let's just say I ad set contains United States, and let's say that I also had some ad sets where I used US like that. I could just save that, and the grade group would be updated, and any ad sets that match that criteria then would go into this grade group and then be graded, and the budget recommendations would be delivered as normal. So for all of these here, you can see other than this one, they're pretty straightforward. So ad set contains India, ad set name contains secondary, ad set name contains primary, ad set name contains worldwide or www. So if we go into this one here, again, you can see that you don't have to do a bunch of ad set contains or statements here. All you have to do is just, you can basically put in the terms, and then once you hit the plus sign, those terms are going to be added, and any ad sets that match those terms, you'll be in good shape. So one of the things that will come up if you do this is that you may notice that you have conflicts. So we don't have any conflicts right now. A conflict would occur if you have an ad set that actually meets the criteria of multiple grade groups. So for some reason, the naming of an ad set could put that ad set in two different groups. You'll be notified that you have conflicts, and it'll just show up right here by the grade group, and it'll tell you the number of conflicts that you have. You just click on that, and then you have the option to either edit the ad set name to resolve the conflict, or you can edit the conditions of the grade group to resolve the conflict. Now, something to keep in mind is that if you have just one or two conflicts, right, then it's probably just a naming issue on your ad set. If you have 20 conflicts or 30 conflicts, you probably have an issue with the conditions that you're using to define your grade groups, all right? So let's just say, for instance, I wanted to, for Latin America right now, it's kind of rolled up into primary markets for us. But if I wanted to break that out separately and I changed my ad set names to contain Latin America or LATAM, all I would have to do is just come in here and say LATAM for Latin America, and then I'm going to say must match any of these conditions, and then I would say ad set name contains LATAM, and Latin America. Ad set name contains LATAM, ad set name contains Latin America, conditions must match any of these. LATAM, I would save that. Now, we don't have any of those created right now that match that. And so you see the automatic counts right away in terms of how many matched that grade group, which is nice. So you don't have to wait for anything to process. Now, the one thing that I will say, though, is as soon as you create a grade group, right, or you change your confidence setting, or you reset performance thresholds, anything like that. But as soon as you create a grade group, and if there were ad sets that were going to go into that grade group, let's say that there were 10 ad sets that match that grade group, just give the system about 4 hours to recalculate the grading and for all of your new recommendations to come through. And so when this prompt up here goes away, then you know that everything is regraded and the recommendations are going to be reflective of your new grade groups, any new performance thresholds that you may have set, as well as any changes maybe to the grading confidence. So those are kind of the three big things that will reset the grading and the budget recommendations within Companion Labs. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to probably edit this down a little bit and just make it a quick sort of 1, 2, 3 overview of how these can help you guys. If you have any questions or comments, just let us know. I will come in on the comments on the thread here and answer any questions. And again, if you're not a premium customer, you'll see this in the UI under settings. Again, just go to settings. If you're a premium customer, grade group management, and you'll have all of the functionality that we just stepped through today. If you're not a Companion Labs premium customer, but you're a trial user, or you are a customer where you just have issues where your cost per install, your CPA, your return on ad spend differs significantly based upon geo or based upon product, then this is a really good feature for you to be able to get the most out of Companion Labs, because your grading is going to be better, your predictive budget recommendations are going to be better, the whole system is just effectively going to work a lot better for you. So hope everybody's having a good Friday, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, take care, bye.